Hi everyone, it's Rax. Want to show you a brand new build for the Crusader, the Phalanx build, and in my opinion, this is probably the best build for a Crusader. I do need to warn you, if you get bothered by a bunch of screen flashes, then now is the time to close this video because the visuals on this build can be a bit extreme, and the feedback has been given to Blizzard from multiple sources to tone it down. You're going to see a lot of big explosions in this one. So what are we doing here? Well, we pretty much just run around, spam our abilities, and we have our little phalanxes, which are our little bowmen. Do you see them shooting everything right there? And as they attack, they shoot condemns everywhere. Now, there's a bunch of really, really weird mechanics with how it works that have been reported to Blizzard, so we're going to see, how it all ends up. I think like Phalanx damage works, but Condemn doesn't, and then it's like almost impossible to stack Stricken because the Phalanxes don't cast it, and then you can cast it, or you can stack it by manually casting Condemn, but then you run out of Wrath instantly, so all this has been reported to Blizzard, and since this is a new build, we will probably get a rework on it and see, what the real mechanics are. But I opened up a 125 here, and I really don't have there's really no power that works very well for this build. I guess you could take the Falling Sword Archangels, but I'm not even using those here. So this is truly just the power of the very weird mechanical first iteration Phalanx build, and it's quite strong. You're going to see we're going to crush this 125. So it's doing pretty damn good. One of the reasons that I like this build so much is you have a lot of control over what's happening, kind of like with the Whirlwind Bard build, how you're pulling all the monsters, and then you have an easy time DPSing them whenever you want. I feel the same way on this build. I can run around freely, I can piss off the monsters with Judgment, and then the Phalanxes attack those targets, and then they trigger the Condemns, and then we get a lot of AoE, and they all pretty much just die instantly. Look at that, we just crushed all those elites with the help of the Conduit. And another fantastic thing about this set is when the Phalanxes attack, they reset your Akarat's champion. This is such a problem for so many Crusader builds. You have to take like every single cooldown roll in existence to even have your build be functional. Here the Phalanxes take care of that for you, and you are always tanky and you have some extra cheat deaths. So I felt, I felt like I had better survivability than on most other Crusader builds. And it's not too bad that you don't have the pony. I mean, I guess you could take the pony if you really wanted to, but you're pretty much dragging everything along with your bowman anyway, so I'm not sure that it's going to be needed. And yeah, so what exactly am I expecting from this build? Well, I think it's one of the more powerful Crusader builds, so I'm not too sure how much of a power increase it will get. I'm kind of wondering if they may change some of the powers to make something work for this build, since it's the new one. Or maybe we can squeeze in Falling Sword for, I don't know, maybe Iron Skin or the Law or something. And then if the Archangels end up being extremely strong, then they could be a big help to this build. The one thing that I'm really wondering is how are we going to stack Stricken here? That's the million-dollar question. And I'm excited to see this upcoming week. I assume they're going to make some changes to it. We'll see exactly where they end up with it. But I got a power pylon, so you want to know what? I'm patient. I'm going to go all the way to the end, and I'm going to see if I can find another elite. No elite found? Okay. You want to know what? I got no problem killing all these monsters. Notice how I judge them, and I've got all the runes for judgment. Look away if you're prone to seizures, because you might have one staring at all these explosions. And look, they just have no problem murdering all of this very tanky trash. These are Dark Berserkers. These are not easy mobs to kill. But even at a 125 with only 1200 Paragon, my bowmen have no problem slaughtering them. So that makes me feel good. Let's head back on over to the power and let's see what they can do versus all of these elites that we have here. So we just run around and gather them all up. Again, haven't died once, which is not the same thing that I can say for some of the other builds I played on the PTR. I felt like around every corner lurked immediate death for a lot of these squishy builds. And here we go. Let's see how this goes. Trying to stand in the Oculus rings here. And my Bowmen, I feel like we're winning here. I can't really tell. My whole screen is just like a solid gold color from all the condemns. But I feel like we're winning. It looks like the monsters are slowly going away. Now maybe I can step into this Aki. Okay, those spinny boys really hurt. I don't like them. All right, there we go. Man, how is there so much danger from so few monsters? Leave me alone, you guys. But yeah, I mean, compared to, let's say, the Blessed Hammer build that I played the other day, where you're throwing hammers in a straight line and they don't do any damage and the power that you have doesn't really do anything, and I felt even squishier on Blessed Hammer, and it's way harder to keep my cooldowns up. This was a breath of fresh air. And finally got them all down. Look at my bar on a 125. Could probably at least do a 130. Maybe I can even do a 135. I think I'm going to have to go back in here and try this again. But to me, it's just a better feeling. Part of it's the survivability. Part of it is just, I kind of like having the pets. I like having them shoot their little bows, and with the AoE explosions, I like the idea in general of pet builds. I've always been a fan of them. And I feel like I've got a little army marching with me that's just doing my bidding, my little army of rangers taking care of everything. It's a pretty rare occasion where I actually have a Crusader build that I actually think is fun to play, which is kind of weird because in Diablo 2, Paladin was one of my favorites, if not my favorite class, but then the D3 Crusader has just never done it for me. They've always felt a little bit too clunky for some reason. But something about this build feels a little bit better when you get hit and you get the extra movement speed, you have the infinite acrobats, you have a million cheat deaths, and I feel like the judgment keeps the monsters at bay as well. I don't know, it feels a little bit more comfy. If you guys haven't tried this one yet, you should put this together on the PTR, especially if they make any changes this week to it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I can't stack Stricken, and we've got Hamlin. Let's see how this goes. We've essentially put him in a little golden dome right there. And let's see how we do once his ads spawn. Okay, well, we killed his friends instantly. My archers vaporize them. And yeah, this doesn't seem to be too bad. But compared to the damage that I had in the Rift, the damage in the Rift seems better relative to the boss damage. This is the opposite of the Tal Rasha wizard, right, that I showed yesterday with the meteors. The meteors literally flatten the boss instantly. So it'll be very easy, or not easy, it'll be very interesting to see how they theory craft this build for the launch. We'll see if the Crusader players like Northwar can come up with anything super cutie patootie for this. But I have a feeling that this is one of the sleeper builds. I have a feeling that this build is going to end up being absolutely fantastic. So if you're a Crusader main and you haven't seen the new set, I strongly encourage you to check this one out and see if you like it. I think Blizzard did a good job with this rework. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the patch, and it's going to be like Christmas morning to see what they changed for all the classes coming up this week. Anyway, Hamlin, well, we didn't kill you too fast because we can't build any Stricken, but all we have to say is sayonara. See you in the next one, guys.